And work with. I'm Keith Perry. I've got the common sense and determination to make Tallahassee work for you.
Paid for by Keith Perry, Republican for Florida Senate.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Look at the clock. That's right, and I'll know what time it is. I heard the other day that there are two things that separate human beings from the rest of God's creation. One of them is the ability to make music. The other one is our need for stories. We are always, and we're able to follow stories. We're able to read a book and just put it down after reading a few chapters. And then go watch a TV show that's also maybe going to leave you hanging with something else. And then all these stories. We just are able to hang on. We're made of stories.
I think so.
Right? That's why history is called High Story, not His Story, because there's not two S's. Hi Story. Hi Story. Thank you for coming into my life. In the studio are three people very familiar with stories. Lee Schwartz is in the studio. He is the supervisor of the Bellevue Public Library
and the storyteller.
Yeah, you're a storyteller. You're really good at it too.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't hear you. I guess I put microphones on. We should do that.
Larry's in charge.
And Jack Copeland.
Right.
Jack Copeland is in the studio. Good morning, Jack.
Ah.
How you doing? I should have gone ladies first, shouldn't I?
Should have.
And then Kim, the cutest one, Kim Drexel. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing good.
When Kim first came in, I told her I saw a photo. I guess it was on Facebook, because I'm your Facebook friend now.
We are. We're best Facebook friends.
Wow. Because I wanted to make sure Lee saw the picture that I took of you two, but he doesn't like Facebook.
I've never heard of this. What is this? Facebook?
Yeah, I know. It was before you were born. It's an old thing.
Yeah.
How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing really good. Are you okay?
I'm
a
doing
little bit upset with you, but it'll pass.
Why? What did I
Well,
do?
the last time I was in here, I gave you my book, and I said at some point an author's not going to call you, and I'm just as close as your phone, and it happened, and it happened. And I said, oh, he's going to call, and so I turned down the radio so it wouldn't get any feedback, you know.
Right.
I turned down the radio so it wouldn't get any feedback, and so I didn't know you'd just moved on to something else.
Oh, you heard it. You heard one of the days
but
when
I
the author
did get
didn't
a call when the phone
Oh.
rang. When the phone rang, some lady wanted to give me a credit card. I had to tell her that since the incident, I'm not allowed to have a credit card.
See, I like the way you leave us hanging, because the obvious question is, what incident, right?
He's waiting.
Yeah.
You have to call this phone number. I wrote it down for you. Find out why.
Well, good morning to all of you. Now, we're here to promote today, what? Is it Phantoms in the Fort?
Yeah, we're doing, it's our second time around, Phantoms in the Fort. Last year, we had Phantoms of the Fort. It was going to be the first thing inside of Fort King that is rebuilt, and there was no fort. It was just us in the woods.
Yeah.
And it was really fun telling scary stories and spooky stories. And this year, we're definitely inside the fort. That's a great spot to be, and we have storytellers locally and coming from all over the state.
And you had a fire last year, though.
Yeah,
That was what was cool about it.
Yeah, Larry likes fire. He wants a chimenea, I heard this
Yeah.
morning.
Did you ever hear that before, chimenea?
Yes.
Is that what it's called, chimenea? Am I saying it right?
Yes, yeah. Those are cool.
Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of what is.
Oh, let me show you. It looks like a chimney out of Ah, Real Monsters. Do you remember Ah, Real Monsters, the cartoon? Anybody? No? No, okay. Do you remember it?
Yes.
And doesn't it look like that?
Yes, it sure does, yeah.
Do I still have it up on the screen here? Let me find my picture of my chimenea. Oh, I might have gotten rid of it since then. Okay, well, I don't have it. It looks like something like the genie. You know the bottle that Genie was in? I Dream of Genie? But just picture the size of a toddler.
with a big open mouth.
A big open mouth, yeah, and that's where you put the wood, and then you light it on fire, and
Sometimes you go to the grocery stores, and they'll be sitting outside of the grocery stores, and it's like a big old, pot, and it's got an opening to throw the wood in, and then it's got a little chimney on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this year no fire. We are inside the fort this year. So bring chairs. We have hay bales set up, but there's always you should always bring your own chair if you can. But we're up on the stage, like you guys have seen it around the parapets there.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really cool, and they're decorating it now because next week they have a big haunted walk there, I think. So
Yes, they do.
yeah,
Yes,
so
they
it should
do.
be really, really
It's
fun.
wonderful.
Jack, what makes a woman pretty?
Being a woman.
Thank you.
I don't know any ugly women, do you?
No, I don't know any. Kim, do you know?
Know any ugly women?
No. You know, like, what makes a woman pretty? What is it about one woman that you say, oh, she's pretty?
I don't know. I think that would depend on each person. I think what one person finds pretty, another one might not. So
That's a beautiful answer. Because that's the question. I kind of set you up for this. This is the same thing with storytellers. Jack, you're an amazing storyteller.
Well, thank
But,
you.
but you're not pretty.
Well, you may not be pretty. but I think to myself, how come, what does he do differently than the other guy? What is it that you, like, how do you know when somebody's a good storyteller? What are we observing?
Yeah, that's interesting. We just had this conversation outside the door.
I was listening. That's how I had the idea.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's amazing all the different types of stories that you hear and the different tellers. They're all entertaining in their own way, but they're so different. And it's just people talking. It's really, it's magic when it's happening.
Do you think there's something, like, Jack, you have a different dialect, I think. Where are you from?
I'm from East Tennessee.
So that's like just a great storytelling dialect. And I don't even know if you know that.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah,
It is.
It's just like when what was that lady that cooks, Julia Child? She had
Yeah.
like this English accent, right? And that's a great storytelling accent, isn't it?
Yeah, I like Irish storytellers.
Yes.
They're really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do they think the same thing? Like if you go to Ireland, does a Brooklyn accent sound good to them or something?
Right.
I know we laugh at that because
But Kim, you're absolutely amazing too. You know how
thank
to
you.
put forth emotion and your facial expressions and the way you move is really amazing.
Well, thank you. I haven't been telling for very long. I actually started the library. When you interview for a position, you have to tell a folk tale. And that was the first time I had ever told a story before. And then Lee really enjoyed my storytelling.
You just made it up on the spot?
No, I practiced. I did.
Oh.
I did a Brer Rabbit story.
Uh-huh.
And then Lee was like, guess what? You're telling a story at this Phantoms in the Fort. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it.
So to work at the library, you have to tell a story?
Depending on which position you're applying for. I think.
Pretty much every position you tell stories as part of the interview process.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I think it really is an interesting gauge of how people are comfortable in front of one another and how you can relate information.
What was your story?
I don't remember my original one. I tell a lot of Nancy the Spider stories now, though. That's a
Nazi?
Anansi.
Not Nazi.
Not Nazi spiders. That's a way different story.
Nazi spiders.
They got the legs for it, you know.
Yeah.
But what are you saying, Nancy, with an accent?
Anansi. Anansi.
That sounds a lot like a Nazi.
What does that word mean? I don't know.
It's the name. It's a character. Like you guys would know Goldilocks. Everyone in East Africa would know Anansi, the
He's like
spider.
a trickster.
Oh.
Yeah. Like Coyote's a trickster in Native American tales, or help me out. Jack is a character in English tales and Appalachian tales.
Not me personally. But some of the fellas that had a beanstalk and
The
everything.
beanstalk guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So a Nazi is what they call it.
Yeah,
That's the guy's name?
he's a spider sometimes, and sometimes he's a guy. But he's a
Wow.
Yeah, so
Don't tell that one in Hamburg. They just will have a hard time with that one.
Yes, for sure.
So, Jack, what kind of story are you going to tell? Do you have it all prepared in advance, or are you just on the spot kind of a guy, depending?
Well, my wife tells me I really need new material, and I think she's right. I need to get down with pen and paper. But for this story, I'm going to tell about a snipe hunt.
A snipe.
A snipe.
What is that?
I know in Florida we have snipes, but in East Tennessee they don't have them, and so I took a bunch of guys on a snipe hunt.
Do you ever?
I was sucked into that when I first moved here.
So what is a person who hunts for snipes called?
A sniper.
That's a sniper.
There's a movie about that, American Sniper. That's what it's about.
Wow, I'm looking for we Skype when we do the football game. That's a little different, right?
Skyper?
Yeah, we're Skypers. Yeah.
And Lee, do you have your story all prepared?
I do. And I'm not as good as Jack about creating my own stories. I usually pick a folk tale. We work in a library, so we go through all the books and all the performances we can, and we try to find one that we like and adapt it. So I'm doing one.
So let me ask you all a question. I'll start with you, Kim. Let me tell you this. Do you know who Quincy Jones is? First of all, the music producer. Well, he used to pick songs for the different recording artists that he worked with. And he would pick a song if it made the hair on the back of his neck rise. That's what he would say. Oh my gosh, it gave me chills, right? So is that similar to how you pick a story? If it gets you, does it make you laugh or make you scared or just gets a reaction?
I think if you have some sort of emotional connection to it, like it makes you smile or... So the one I'm doing is called Ask the Bones, and it's from a short story collection that we have at the library. And I read it, and I just thought, ooh, that's so creepy. I feel like that's going to
really
freak a lot
Ask
of
the
people
Bones.
out. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how I chose mine. But
and can you give us an idea of what that's about? What is Ask the Bones about?
Ask the Bones is about a young boy who. It's kind of like a Middle Eastern tale, and he becomes a servant for this man. He has no other option, no other way to get money or food. And the man takes him on a strange journey, and then he seeks revenge.
Oh,
so I'll just leave it at
that. That's like a movie trailer right there. Right?
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
I mean, when you think about it, that before the advent of recorded sound and recorded video, that's all we had was people standing and telling. And I know everybody knows this, and it wasn't that long ago that was it. You went around the campfire and listened to stories, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. And we go out to schools or we go to the villages or on top of the world, and we'll tell stories with other people. And it's amazing how quickly you get right back in there. Your brains are wired. Like human beings are really, like you were talking about earlier, are made to hear stories and tell stories. And how quickly you go into that other world. Yeah. So it's really.
So I wonder, if you're at the movie, right? Have you ever sat next to somebody, Jack, and you're watching a movie and they say, "I don't get it. What happened there?" And then you have to explain what just happened, right?
Oh, all the time. Mostly at home.
So at a storytelling event, have you ever had somebody in the audience ask you, the storyteller, "Wait a minute, what?" Do they ever interrupt you?
That's the kind of stories I tell. That that's a high when somebody finally does that or actually believes what I'm saying. I've seen, when I'm telling a story, I've seen people in the audience turn to other people and say, "What does that mean?" I've actually seen that happen.
I think storytellers are amazing because you go to the theater and you see a play and each person has their own part and everything, but the storyteller has to set the mood and convey all the parts, all the emotions, and that is a true talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those different characters you have to bring out. Back to Jack, he tells a story about his dog that I won't give it away, but my daughter thought it was so real that really for like 2 years we'd go by his house and say, "Can we see his dog? Can we see this dog?" It's an amazing dog. I don't want to give it all, but it's so it's so funny and so unbelievable that she believed it. I was like, "This is great." I would always say, "Yeah, let's go see." And he'd always say, "Not here. Snooky's not here today. Take it to the vet." It's so crazy. Like as an adult, you can't imagine it, but he made it so believable.
That's funny.
So good, yeah.
And Jack, you're also an author. How do you keep...
He has a book, Robin.
I know. We have it.
He wants to be on the show, apparently.
How do you keep your author personality away from your storyteller personality?
I'm sure, Larry, if you were to read my book with all the bad grammar or this bad spelling and all the things, it's just like I was sitting down talking to you. And it's me writing the stories. I create most of my stories, and so that's what I did. Is I just put them in a book.
Is that your goal, Kim? Is to make up your own stories and put them in a book?
I I don't know about that. I like going through the classic stories, the stories that people have already written, and kind of reviving them. I enjoy that.
That's wonderful.
So do you ever like cross the line? Like, could it be a Bible story or something? Or is that taboo? Or no?
No, I've heard some great stories
Bible
that are created that way. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name. There's a saint story that I heard once that was really amazing. It had singing parts, so I was like, no way I could do this, but I really was amazed by it. I think.
We saw Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor
Dreamcoat, yeah.
And Robin said that's in the Bible. I said that's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donny Osmond's in the Bible.
Sometimes when you have the storytellers, they're dressed up in character, depending on the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have that.
Yeah, I don't know. Jack's a character, but I've seen a couple that have come to our storytellings in character like that. I don't know if any will come this time. We have two really national recognized storytellers coming. Cheryl Ford is one, and Kay Burns is the other. So I don't know what they're telling, but they're amazing. We had another one that was coming, but she lived in the Panhandle and lost her house. So
oh my.
So yeah. So I don't know. We're kind of sad about that. I won't mention her name, but she's an amazing storyteller and just going through some tough times now. So I don't know. But.
So do you have a goal? I guess each storyteller has a different goal, right? Like maybe to make them scared or to make them laugh, right? And do you know when you've succeeded at that? I mean,
well, Lee likes to bring this up a lot, especially when he's introducing me to people and telling people that I'm a storyteller. I told a scary story at the Forest Library, and it was called Taily Po, and it was so scary it made a child cry.
Oh,
so
really?
Lee thinks that was my greatest success.
Yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful.
My dog story did the same thing to a child.
Well, I told a story a couple of days ago to our friends group, about 50 people or so, and I just made them all jump. It was the best. Like they did not see it coming, and then when I made them all jump out of their seats,
that's great.
It just made me laugh.
So those are 3 examples of success. I know, Jack, you have a comical way about you, so it's almost like you're setting us up to want to find something funny. Yeah.
Yes, and I hope you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've laid some real eggs.
Do you test them out? Is there a way to test them before you do a major event? No.
Well, I'd tell them to friends and relatives and stuff like that. Sometimes I tell them to my wife, but she always finds them. She says that you need to work on that some more.
Oh my!
But it helps. And she's right when she says that.
Depending, because it's at night and it starts at 7, and then it gets deeper, like around 9 o'clock or so. Do you structure the storytellers so that the darker it is outside, there's more scary stuff?
Yeah, we try to make the first hour or so more family friendly, and then it gets scarier as the night goes on. And we break it up with music. This time, I know you guys have played, but we have Miranda Madison, you might be familiar with. She's going to come and do some songs. She was there last year just in the audience.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think her son might kick it off. She has a 10-year-old son that is going to do a poem, I heard, right? So,
oh, that's wonderful.
So we try to structure it that direction, but it's all a balancing act. Jessica McCune is the MC this year.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
She's wonderful.
Great storyteller, too.
Yeah.
Will you have refreshments and things there for the people, or should they bring their own, like water or something?
Well, I would say bring your own. Usually, one year we tried to pop popcorn, but we couldn't keep up. And then Kiefer brought some cider, but he never had enough. This is so he said there'll be plenty of water, but I would say bring your own water, bring your own chair, that type of thing. Just come prepared. But
just be sure to come.
Yeah, just come. Yeah.
Is there a campfire inside the fort?
No. It's just going to be lit up with decorations and under the stars, and hopefully it'll be a nice, cool evening.
Who was the young lady that did the song, and her shadow looked just like a face of a woman?
Yeah, that was Paula Batchelder.
Yeah.
She is works at the library at headquarters, and she can't be there this year. But she stood on stage with her guitar, and it was like, I don't know, Alfred Hitchcock was behind.
Did you notice it, or not until I showed?
No.
Did you guys see that at all? Did you see Paula play? Oh, I'm going to find it online and show you. It was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't touch up the photo at all.
Yeah.
It's completely
It looked like it was so fake. Like
profile.
how could that be?
I know.
Yeah, it was
I'm gonna find
really,
it.
really good.
Will there be parking by the fort, or do you have to park away from the fort?
Yeah, there's a lot of parking around the fort, so come there first. If not, they'll direct you to an overflow parking area. And I don't know if they're going to run golf carts or not, but usually that's something like they would do that. But you can get there a little early and walk around the fort because that thing is amazing, and you should take time to explore that second.
That's where the Seminole War started, was at that fort. So it's
really,
very
that's
historical.
where it started.
Yeah,
Oh my
and so
gosh.
do those stories get told, the historical stories?
There is a volunteer at Fort King that's telling a story this year about the haunting at Fort King. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to go there for that. It's so scary.
So scare us a little bit right now. Have you ever had anything happen to you in real life that was spooky? Can I tell you one that happened to me yesterday?
Okay.
Was it yesterday, Robert?
Oh, those are the best kind of
2
stories.
days ago? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I had a friend when I was a teenager, and he died in 1990. Okay, and I always knew, and this was on Long Island in New York. And I always knew he lived in New York City, but I never knew where. Okay, so I found this old address book, and it said 77 7th Avenue, apartment 11A. Okay, so I'm on my little iPad. I feel like I'm telling a story. This is true. So I type into the little Google Map search, right? I put I just want to say, where is 77 7th Avenue? Where is that? So I put 77 7th Avenue, and then you know how it gives you choices?
Yeah.
One of the choices is 11A. So I said, what is this, a very small building? There's only one apartment? So then I click on 11A, and it shows me the street view of this very, very big building. Obviously more than one apartment in this building. Now, explain that. How did 11A show up?
I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Crazy.
That is a spooky story.
And then on the roof of the building was your friend looking up at you. that would have been something.
That's the end of the story, right?
Yes.
That's the fictional part. It's historical fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you prepare when you tell a story?
I tell it over and over again. My poor husband has heard me tell this story so many times. He could probably get up there and tell it himself now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I practice too in the car on the way to work usually, and then we have the opportunity to tell in the library a lot. So we'll just, if there's a crowd waiting for something, we'll go. Like Kim in the summer had to tell in front of 200 screaming kids while calmed them down and said, let's tell them a story while we're waiting for something else to happen. So in the summer we usually tell a lot of stories because we feed the kids on the porch or whatever, and we're always waiting around for something. So we always have built-in audiences for that.
And Jack, for your preparations?
I don't practice on the day.
Okay.
And I do before that tell it as many times as I can, even to myself, and when I'm driving around in the car. But on the day of, I don't. And when I go to the event, if I'm really, really nervous, I know I'm going to do well.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That's a sign?
I don't know why that does, but if I'm not nervous, then it's always a bomb.
Oh my.
Do you ever record yourselves and then listen like in the car, and does that help you prepare for it?
Well, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
But see, that delivery was funny.
I do a YouTube, and I tell jokes and stuff on YouTube for a YouTube channel, for my YouTube channel, Camping with Dave.
Right.
And
I'm gonna go.
And when I look at it, I think, oh, that is horrible. And I guess that's probably why I don't get many views. But but I don't really like watching myself.
Yeah, listening is maybe a little bit easier than watching. Yeah.
Do you ever scare yourselves when you're telling the story and you're really
I did
getting
the
it
last
home?
time we advertised this here. told us the one where you close your eyes and something sneaking up behind you. I scared myself.
All right, so make sure everybody writes it down on the calendar. It's going to be this Saturday, right?
Yes.
October 20th at the Fort King National Historic Landmark. If you've never been there, you got to go just to see the fort that was rebuilt.
Oh, it's amazing.
Amen.
Yeah.
Is there anything new since last year? Did they add anything?
Well, last year there was no fort. This year there is.
No, yes there was.
No, not for this. Not for this. Yeah.
Okay, when did we see the fort then?
We had one in maybe the spring.
Oh, okay.
You guys did, but no, we had a December one. for
right, with a fire and cooking the coffee over the fire.
And that guy might come again. I don't know.
No, we were in the fort.
Yeah, you were in the fort in December. No, you were in December. You guys sang a tune.
December, okay.
Yeah. But no, they're always doing something on that, always making it more authentic, and they're going to build more out.
Build more buildings on the inside.
But I haven't been there since the last time we were there together, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I drive by it every day, though.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful area.
It's amazing,
super wonderful, and the people are so nice.
It takes you back in time almost when you go inside those gates, and there's nothing different from 150 years ago than now. It's pretty cool.
You may not realize it, but you all give to us. Thank you for doing that and for making this a better place. Phantoms in the Fort is this coming Saturday at the Fort King National Historic Landmark. Kim Drexel, I'll start with ladies first. Thank you for coming in here. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Larry.
Jack Copeland, you're a superstar. Thank you for coming in here and doing this with us. And Lee Schwartz, thank you. You're an amazing guy. We will take a little break. Be right back.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings of each month at 9:05, Robert Copeland will be with us from On Top of the World, Ocala's premier active adult community. Be sure to listen and be sure to call in. Speak with Robert to learn about all the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available